Good morning, everybody. So today we're going to be talking about a little bit more terminology, more about the tooth anomalies, tooth wear, and then we're going to discuss eruption sequences in both the primary dentition and the permanent dentition. All right, so we're going to start off today with last week's question. What anatomical structure is usually found between the first and second premolar? It's the mental foramen. You see these little dark dots right here. Well, in this panoramic X-ray, it's kind of leaning more towards the second premolar, but ideally it would be between both premolars, and it's like an opening located on the jaw where you have the nerves going through the mental foramen and supplying the teeth. We will discuss this anatomy later on, but it's really important for you to know that later on when you take an X-ray and you see this dot next to or between the first and second premolar, just know that's not anything to be worried about. It should be the mental foramen. Okay? This is a very important structure for you guys to remember. All right, let's start with the dental abnormalities. Okay, so we're going to start with fusion, gemination, and concrescence. Thing that these guys have in common is that the teeth are stuck together. It seems like two teeth are just acting as one. All right, but each one is different. Each one is unique. We'll start with fusion. Fusion is when two completely separate teeth from two germs, each germ gives off a tooth. So when you say from two separate germs, they're absolutely separate teeth. When these two germs join together and become one large tooth structure, it may involve the entire length of the tooth or just the roots. Okay? So you can see here, it's clear with the anatomy of the teeth that they're two separate teeth and that in this case they're fused from the enamel all the way down to the cementum. Okay? Alright. Gemination. The fusion of two teeth from a single enamel organ, usually seen as two crowns and share one root canal. Alright, so what happens here is that you have two teeth, two germs, but they share the same enamel organ. So it's kind of like, I don't know, a snake with two heads, you can say. So they have one root and two crowns, two separate crowns, right here. That's called gemination. Now, if it had two roots and two crowns, what would it be called? Fusion. Exactly. Alright, concrescence, a form of fusion of already formed teeth that is joined by cementum. So in this case, it's just they're two separate teeth, just like in fusion, but they're only attached together by the cementum. The enamel is going to be completely separate. Now, some of you might ask, how do we differentiate between fusion and concrescence? Because fusion is going to be two separate teeth fused together by the roots. Well, usually they look at the anatomy. They look at the anatomy. So in concrescence, it's just going to be the cementum. In fusion, it might be more than just the cementum. Sometimes maybe it might involve a little bit of the enamel, or a little bit of the dentin, or a little bit of the pulp tissue. So these are the three different abnormalities where the teeth are all joined together. Okay. Mesiodens. Mesiodens is a supernumerary tooth between the maxillary central incisors. So, right here in this picture, this is a great picture to amplify the mesiodens. So these are the two central incisors, maxillary central incisors, and this is an extra tooth. Okay, so this is, usually we would call this mesiodens. It's usually only between the maxillary central incisors. If you have an extra tooth between other teeth, it would be called otherwise. But if it's exactly located between the upper centrals, it would be called mesidens. Okay? Hypercementosis is excessive formation of cementum around a root of a tooth. So in this case, this is your root, and all of a sudden you see like this bulk over here. That's just excessive cementum. Okay? Ankylosis. Okay, this is a really important one, especially for whoever is interested in surgery later on. Ankylosis is the fusion of the tooth to the bone. Now, remember how we discussed the anatomy of the tooth last lecture, and we talked about having the jawbone, here the alveolar bone, and then you have the root, the tooth socket, and then between the tooth and the bone you have the periodontal ligament, right? Well, in ankylosis, the periodontal ligament is absent, and the tooth ends up attaching to the bone directly, so it doesn't have that cushion effect in the middle. And this can be a problem if, for example, you wanted to perform orthodontic treatment on the patient because the tooth would be very difficult to move, or it wouldn't even move from its place, it's just stuck there. And it would be a problem if only if you didn't know that it was ankylosed in surgery. If you wanted to extract that tooth, you would have to do it surgically instead of the conventional, regular way, or else you'd break off the bone. So this is one of the important terms to know. The same goes for hypercementosis. I mean, if you take an x-ray of a tooth and you see that, there's hypercementosis going on, you would want to be careful when extracting the tooth because you don't want that part to break off and stay embedded in the jaw. Okay. Alright. Enamel pearl is a condition where enamel is found on parts of the tooth where it shouldn't be, usually at the root furcation areas and molars. So right here we know that enamel is only confined to the crown of the tooth. It would be very odd to see enamel on the root of the tooth because it's only made up of cementum, correct? Now, in some cases, you can see here these little pearls. They look exactly like pearls. White in color, same shape, and they're made completely of enamel. Why it happens? Just during the tooth formation stage, you have some enamel cells that migrate down there, or something happens along the process where they just form on the furcation area. Usually they're confined to the furcation area of the molars, like right about here. This is not really a problem. I mean, even if a patient has enamel pearls, it is absolutely fine. There is no harm in it. It does not cause anything, except that maybe it might cause a challenge when doing scaling and root planning, the dental cleaning, especially if the patient has recession or bone loss, and then you get food stuck there, and you get calculus, and you need to clean that area off. That could be a bit of a problem, and then maybe at that point you'd consider, okay, let's shave it off or remove it. But usually they just leave it the way it is because it's really harmless. Okay. The last one is dilaceration. Dilaceration is severe bending or curving of a part of the tooth, either root or crown. In this picture, we have dilaceration of the root. You see how it is super curvy. It's not supposed to be like that at all. It's supposed to just like end right here and just, have the apical foramen right here. In this case, it's dilacerated very, very severely. It can happen with the root as well, the crown. The crown can be like tilted way to the right, way to the left. In this case, it would be a challenge when uh, doing surgery, like extracting the tooth. You would have to do it surgically because there is no way that you can extract this tooth all in one piece. This piece is going to chip off. This piece is going to break off. So that's the only real problem. And of course, when you're doing root canals, how are you going to perform a root canal on this tooth? It's going to be super difficult and super frustrating. Okay? Alright, now, dental abnormalities in this slide. It discusses what they have in common is the number of the teeth. It's either complete absence of the teeth, absence of a little bit of teeth, and absence of a lot of teeth. Okay? We're going to start off with anodontia. Anodontia is a developmental abnormality characterized by the total absence of teeth. As you can see here, complete anodontia. Now, when I say anodontia, I don't want you to think of newborn babies. They don't have any teeth. I want you to think of an adult person who has lost all his or her teeth and have absolutely nothing and they have to wear dentures. Now that's a case of what you call, they have a case of anodontia. So the A in the beginning of the, or the ano, to be precise, means that it's complete absence. Okay? Alright. Oligodontia refers to the congenital absence of many but not all teeth. So when you have a patient who comes in and they don't have their lower anteriors, like in this picture, and they don't have most of the teeth, they do have a few teeth. It's absence of a lot of many teeth, but not all of the teeth, then that's called oligodontia. And it's usually congenital. It's not because of environmental purposes, it's because they were just born that way. Alright, the last one is hypodontia. Refers to the absence of only a few teeth. The most common teeth that would be missing in this case would be, in the hypodontia case, I mean, you can see the third molars, the wisdom teeth, the upper laterals. Those are very common to be missing. You can see some people who have their centrals and their canines right away. So those would be the two most common teeth that would be missing. And in that case, we call it hypodontia. Alrighty. Now that we're done with tooth abnormalities, we're going to start off with tooth wear. Tooth wear has three distinct forms. It can come off as erosion, it can come off as attrition, or abrasion. They're all considered tooth wear. There's parts of the tooth that are lost. It's not there anymore. But each one is caused by a different thing. Let's start with erosion. Erosion is the loss of tooth structure from acidic liquids and food. It affects smooth, especially lingual and occlusal surfaces. Okay, so when they say that, you see in this case how the teeth, you see the dotted line, this is supposed to be where the original teeth are, and they have lost the tooth structure. So usually acidic liquids, so it can be orange juice, lemon juice, anything acidy in the food that can just wear down or erode down the teeth. Or sometimes it can be from vomiting a lot, because that's acidic as well. And you can tell if a patient is losing his tooth surfaces from either his diet or from vomiting because he's bulimic or anorexic. It's usually, like, if you have a patient that's bulimic or anorexic, and you see the tooth erosion, especially in the lingual sides, on the molars, that's where you would see most of the erosion. Okay, so just know that erosion is caused by acidic liquids and foods. So something from the outside. Okay. Attrition. The wear of enamel and dentin from normal function or from excessive binding of teeth together. Do you know someone who grinds their teeth at night and all you hear at night is them grinding their teeth? Well, you gotta make sure that they go see a dentist and they get a night guard, because after a while it can cause attrition. So in this case, I don't know if I can get this image. Okay. You see here in this case. So when you have a rest, when you have your lips like that in the rest position, you're supposed to see a little bit of the tooth, like at least a millimeter out. Here you can't see anything. So they're just showing you that okay, she has lost tooth structure, and you can see over here how they're like kind of flat. It's not like anatomical with like the scalloping, and they have those nice boundaries. That's just like one flat surface, and they're all the same length. Usually, the centrals are longer than the laterals, the canines go down, they're pointy, nothing. Everything is done because she grinds them so much. So you can see here how they fixed it up in a while. Okay? Big difference, right? See how long the teeth are here? Okay. So that's called attrition. That's usually caused by bruxism, grinding the teeth at night, or by crunching. Crunching is another form of bruxism. It's grinding your teeth, but it's during the day when you're awake and aware. Okay. So attrition is caused by grinding the teeth together. Abrasion. Abrasion is a type of tooth loss that's caused by either something from the outside of the mouth, something environmental. Toothbrush abrasion, like for brushing too hard, I do that, I'm guilty. And I do have a V-shaped opening on one of my premolars, which is super sensitive, so don't brush too hard. V-shaped due to hard brushing. Occlusal abrasion, flattened cusps on all posteriors. That can also be caused either by, I wouldn't say excessive toothbrushing, but usually people who wear, like, let's say dentures, let's say they're wearing an upper denture, and they have no posterior teeth on the maxillary arch, while they have posterior teeth on the mandibular arch, and then over time, that denture is going to wear down the bottom teeth, or for some reason they got weaker, yeah, and the acrylic is just going to grind away the teeth. That would be called abrasion. So abrasion basically is tooth hair loss from something outside, not from food, not from grinding, from a toothbrush, from a toothpick, from, let's say, in the Middle Eastern countries, they eat a lot of seeds, and when you eat the seeds with your anterior teeth, especially with the central incisors, you get that little V-shaped on the incisal edge, and that's abrasion. It's caused from something outside. Okay? Alright, so we're just to let you guys know, we're done with the terminology parts. So I hope that it was fulfilling and meaningful and good for you guys. If I come across any more terminology later on in the future, I'll definitely put it in the slides. But for now, I think this is going to be like a good basic knowledge for you. We discussed the numbering systems of the teeth last week. Today we're going to discuss the eruption sequences, which tooth comes up first, at which age. This is very important to know. Why? Because if you get a patient, let's say a child, a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, and most of his teeth haven't fallen off yet, some of his maybe he hasn't gotten his permanent teeth yet. Whatever reason, you can decide, and you can tell if the teeth eruption are delayed. Why is it delayed? Is it congenitally missing? Is it there but it's positioned in a weird way that it needs help coming down? This is why we're studying eruption sequences. Okay, so we'll start with the primary dentition with the baby teeth. If you have babies, if you have cousins who are babies, nieces, nephews, this would be a great time to play with them and observe their mouth. So, if you know a baby cousin or you have a baby sister or brother, you would know that the first two teeth to come out would be the lower central incisors. Those are the first two teeth to come out, okay? The lower central incisors, they come out from 6 to 10 months. Okay, that's the age. So if you have a baby sister or brother, and let's say by 12 months, right, they don't have their central incisors out yet, you can say, okay, their eruption is delayed, right? And then, God forbid, like let's say a year passes and those teeth are still not there, then it's time to like go check, okay, what's going on? Are they really missing or are they there just positioned differently? Okay. So those are the first two teeth that come out at the central incisor, lower central incisor, the first two teeth that come out, right? And then, so see, I like this picture because it tells you exactly what comes out, and then you can just look at what time it erupts. Okay, so central incisors for 6 to 10 months, and then lower central incisors, and then you go upper central incisors, they come up over here, 8 to 12 months. So by his first year, by 12 months, that baby should have lower centrals and upper centrals. Lower centrals first and then upper centrals second. Okay? And then after that, in his second year now, going into his second year, he's going to have his upper laterals. Upper laterals are 9 to 13 months. Okay, so 9 to 13 months, he might even have them before his first year. Hogs. So 9 to 13 months, and then after that, it's kind of like a sequence, right? Lower centrals, upper laterals, and lower laterals. Lower laterals, they erupt 10 to 16 months. So by the time he's a year and a half, you should have his lower centrals. And they become like little rabbits. They just eat in the front. Okay. And then after that, we're going to have, it looks like the first molar. It's 14 to 18 months. And then you're going to have the first molars, upper and lower, simultaneously they're going to come out. Okay. And then you're going to have the upper canines, and then the lower canines, and then the second molars. The second molars are the last. So this is kind of important because you need to know the eruption sequence. Okay? And just know that the first teeth to come out are the lower centrals, the last teeth to erupt are the second molars. And you need to know the ages, the months. Not precisely, just like have an estimate. Okay, so you know that the central incisors and the central incisors, both lower and upper, are going to be coming out within the first year of the baby's life, and then you're gonna have the laterals that are gonna come out between the first and the second year. So you're gonna have like an estimate. You don't have to know like, okay, 8 to 12 months exactly. Just weigh it out. Okay, so next to the eruption sequence here, we all know primary teeth have a time where the tooth fairy comes and collects them and takes them away and gives the kids credit. So we need to know when these teeth are gonna fall. These teeth are not gonna start falling until the age of 6. Once the kid hits the age of 6, then it's just going to start, and the kid is going to enter into next season. So the central incisor says here the first instead of negotiate this was to fall. 6 to 7 years old. Okay? And you're gonna have the lateral incisors, they're gonna fall at 7 to 8. And you're gonna have the canine crystal sepulchre. So this is kind of easier, I think, for you guys than the eruption. But it's also as important as the eruption sequence. Okay? To know when the teeth fall. And now we're going to discuss when the permanent dentition erupts. Alright. So the permanent dentition, let me check something over here. So in the permanent dentition, the sequence of eruption is a little bit different than the primary. The primary kind of had like a routine where the central would come up first, but it was just a matter of was it mandibular or maxillary. in the permanent teeth, in the permanent dentition, I mean, it's a little bit different. So in the permanent dentition, the first teeth, okay, this is very important to know. First set of teeth that are going to erupt as permanent teeth are going to be your first molars, both upper and lower. That's the first set of teeth you're going to have as permanent teeth. And as soon as these molars come out, you can officially say they're in the mixed dentition. Okay. Um, First molars are considered the cornerstone of the mouth, so that's important as well for you to know. Okay. And as you can see in the picture, you're gonna have the central incisors. They are going to come out with the first molars, the lower centrals. Okay. That's 6 to 7. So at the age of 6, remember, the age of 6, that's when they're going to start hitting the mixed dentition. Alright, and the second set of teeth that are going to come out simultaneously are the upper centrals and the lower laterals. And that comes at the ages of 7 to 8 years old. Okay. And then you're going to have the lower canines. They're going to erupt at 9 to 10 years old. Oh, I'm sorry, before that, you have the upper lateral incisors. I skipped one. These are the upper lateral incisors, 8 to 9 years old, and then you have the lower canines. So you kind of have like a sequence over here too. You start off with the first molars and the lower centrals, and then they go simultaneously. Upper centrals, lower laterals, upper laterals, and then lower canines. And then you got like upper canines, and then everything else just starts falling into place. All the ages are here, so you can just follow the pictures with the ages. So for example, we know that the first molar is going to be the first, so that's 6 to 7 years old. And then we have 7 to 8 lateral and central incisors, upper centrals, lower laterals. We have 8 to 9 years old laterals and upper laterals. And then we have 9 to 10 years old, the canines, the lower canines. And it keeps on going. The upper canines at 11 to 12. Yeah, and then you have the premolars. So the premolars are going to come into where? So in the primary dentition, they have only first and second molar. So those are going to be replaced by the first premolar and second premolar. And then the extra space on the back, that's where the permanent molars are going to fill up the space. Alright, so I just want you guys to go over this and kind of memorize the years and when they're erupting for both permanent and primary. Again, it's really important. And this is all we have for today. I put up a question for you guys. So remember the kinds of tooth wear that we discussed today, the erosion, attrition, abrasion? Okay. I want you guys to identify which type of tooth wear is non-mechanical. We discussed each type of tooth wear. I just want to see if you have a nice understanding of the types of tooth wear. Okay? So by the end of today's lecture, you guys are all set with the basics. And starting next lecture, I'm going to start discussing each tooth individually. We'll discuss all anatomy, we'll discuss everything about that tooth, every nick, every bump we're going to talk about. We're going to go deeper into the anatomy, so it requires like a lot of detail and a lot of attention. But the reason why I'm doing it that detailed is that just in the future, if you wanted to study for the boards exam, the dental boards exam, this would help. This way would really help you later on studying for it. Okay? Alright guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, and you guys have a great weekend.